Someone said this to me. They said, "This is Poland. What do you notice?"
23rd of June 2025. Geopolitical update will be delayed till tomorrow. Did you notice something about Poland and Russia, by the way? Did you notice the lack of immigrants? Did you notice the white people there? Did you notice how safe it is in the streets, cohesive, how peaceful it seems? Well, some people, like myself, even though we are pro the West and we are seen as Westerners, and our geopolitical analysis, our belief in freedom of speech and capitalism and democracy, many of us, just because of this one factor and the oppressive attacks on us as white people within our own countries, we are slowly becoming more and more pro-Russia, pro-Belarus, pro-Poland, pro-Hungary, because those are the only countries left in the entire world that are predominantly dominated and are white countries. I have a, Western European background. My, part of my bloodline, the largest part, came from Britain. And Britain is now just flooded with immigrants. And the women are disgusting. The immigrants are there to destroy the country. There's a lot of hatred against people that look like myself. And a lot of the men that are left have serious mental issues and are struggling as it is to survive. France has been destroyed. Germany's been destroyed by the you-know-whos. A lot of Western Europe has been destroyed by those people. Now, I'm from Sydney, Australia, and Sydney, Australia, 50% of the people that reside in my city were born overseas. Now, it doesn't mean that I'm attacking them, because I can't attack them because they outnumber me within my own country. I'm the victim of them colonizing me. It's the other way around. It's funny how the media will go, "Oh, you're a white supremacist," although I haven't been called a white supremacist, surprisingly. And I think that's because people know that I'm not actually racist. I'm just a victim of being colonized by people who, look, if a lot of the people that turned up to Australia believed in equality, and they weren't backwards third world trash that wanted to destroy and steal my wealth, like what happened to me recently, if you guys are aware of. Those immigrants come to your country, then they get involved in politics, and they try to corrupt your political system from within, and they take whatever they can. And that doesn't mean they're bad people. They just, the incentive structure has been designed to protect them against me. And so, myself, a rational actor out there with an above average IQ, got out. I recommend a lot of you guys get out as well. But when you look at the world, you think, okay, how do I've got to get out of Australia. I'm now effectively a refugee that has left Australia. Now, the issue here is, if things really heat up and people start doing what they did during World War I, World War II, and they start targeting people based on their race, and the dominating demographics within my own country outweigh me, then my life's in danger within my own country because my government let too many dangerous people in. And it's not that they're bad. It's just that when scarcity kicks in, this is why I studied economics and geopolitics at the same time. When people get stressed, when people run out of money, when people have to fight over limited resources, bad things happen. That's probably the easiest, most simplistic way to put it. Bad things happen when people get desperate. And what they do, like in jail, is they join up with people that look like them. And if you have an unbelievable amount of people from a different demographic, it doesn't matter whether they're born in Sydney or Melbourne or Brisbane or not, they will join forces to make sure that they have enough resources for themselves. This is how human beings, because we're animals, behave. Now, the global population is at a peak. It's like a stock. It's at a bubble and it's about to burst. The world has become claustrophobic. My city, Sydney, has become claustrophobic. It's hard to breathe. It seriously became hard to breathe the last decade that I was living in Sydney, because I was just surrounded by people taking everything from me, taking my rights, taking my healthcare, taking the immigrants coming in, and now we're at the stage where they're letting in Africans that are legitimately just violently taking over, and that's the last part before the total decline in society. And that's what they did in Britain, that's what they did in France and Germany. And this is why recently we've seen Russia, a predominantly white nation, take on the United States, all of Western Europe, the British, the French, the Germans, everybody, and all of their allies, and the CIA, Mossad, the Israelis did their best to destroy Russia, everything. The Israel lobby did everything they could as well, and Russia has won. They're winning. Now, I'm not saying that we join the winning team just because they're winning. I'm saying that I'm far more pro-Russian, because if everything goes bad and I'm living in Russia, I'm going to be far safer than I will be in my own city that has been flooded with people from different demographics. People that come from countries that don't have the same rule of law and upbringing, and they're less civilized, and they have a chip on their shoulder, and they feel like a victim, and they want to just blame anybody that they possibly can as a justification for taking something that they never earned. Their forefathers didn't die on the beaches. Their forefathers didn't die on construction sites. Their forefathers didn't get together and for free basically build the big infrastructure projects. They didn't have freedom-loving icons like Ned Kelly, that whether he knew it or not was fighting for our freedoms in the country. Things like that. All of those things, they no longer matter anymore. And now we're hitting a demographic cliff, a bubble. We have multiple superpowers in the world right now that are vying for influence. And when things get really bad, the smaller demographics suffer the most. If you are the smallest demographic, you look different, regardless of whether it's your country or not, you will suffer. And that's what's going to happen in the not too distant future. And so therefore, if you are white and you live in Sydney and shit hits the fan, you are in danger. It's simple. You are in danger. And I'm not saying that all of the people there are going to come after you and try to kill you. If they outnumber you, they can then influence the political system to make sure that you don't have access to food or shelter, and then you just die by default. or healthcare or whatever. The doctors from overseas. He decides to only help the people who look like him. Even though when we let him into the country, he was told that he's not supposed to behave that way and we treated him equally. That's not how the world works. It all goes back to who looks like you, who's from your religion, which we found out recently that the entire political structure in Australia is corrupted by those people in the Middle East. And they're not on your team either. So, that's all I wanted to say, basically. Whoa, I choked on something. So, look at this beautiful water here. It's hard to see, isn't it? It's nighttime. There we go. You get a look at the beautiful pool. It's an infinity pool, and then it drops right there. And on the other side, there's 6 pools as well. It's a beautiful place. See these apartments, magnificent. You know, I think it's a smart move to just get out of Australia while you can. And then we figure out where, and this is what I'm trying to figure out. This is why I recommend that you guys join the members section of this channel. The people who run Australia, those people, I think they prefer to have me on YouTube. So if I start up a Telegram group and I connect it to here at this point because they're watching me, or I try to divert traffic from here elsewhere, I think they will shut this channel down. So what I'll do is and they've given me quite a few strikes. You know, I've been warned to be careful what I say. So what I do is I use the members section inside this channel, so they can monitor me, basically. That's how they work. That's how the people who run your country work. They want to monitor the people who get political. And so, you know, there's a lot of posting going on in the members section, the insiders. Just brief little geopolitical, take on things. The stock market's about to open. Wall Street opens in about 15 minutes from now. I'll see if I can upload this video within time, we'll see. And it's highly likely under these circumstances, because of the preemptive strike, Israel attacking Iran, that the stock market takes a bit of a tumble. You know, we had that reversal. I did make that video public for you guys. It was time to buy. So people who took that advice actually made some money. So hopefully that helped you guys out. But in the members section, that's where I try to look for ways that you guys can either invest your money so you can try to get out of Australia and survive abroad. That's how I've managed to do it myself. I think a lot of these markets have topped. So, we're waiting for the tumble to happen. People are saying that fuel prices in Australia are already increasing, which doesn't make any sense because they haven't even fully shut down the Strait of Hormuz yet, Iran. But I'll give you guys a more simplistic overview of what I think is happening between Israel and Iran. The first couple of days are the most important. And that's why when I uploaded that video saying, okay, look, anything's possible right now. Iran just needs to hold on, to wait for the cavalry to arrive. And if they can survive longer than Syria did, then we'll find out we'll have a lot more information. We'll have an understanding on how long this is going to play out. At this point, it seems very much that this is going to be an ongoing nightmare of a war. The United Nations, they have a meeting less than 24 hours ago. The Iranian leadership and the Russian leadership are meeting in Moscow wasn't even 4 or 5 hours ago. There's meetings happening, and it's at the moment it seems like this is going to be an ongoing, long-term war that's going to be extremely destructive. There's the Israelis have been locked down. They're not allowed to leave. These Israelis are chucking tantrums. They're getting their lawyers involved to try and see if they can get out. I'd like to explain my take on that as well. But with Iran, there's almost 100 million people there. It's a massive, massive country. And what I think will happen, I just want to make this a short video. I'll just get to the point of what I think will happen. I think Iran has nuclear weapons already. They don't need to develop their own nuclear warheads. They just get given nuclear warheads. I think they were given to them by the Pakistanis so the Russians and the Chinese can pretend that they had nothing to do with it. And even if the United States nukes the hell out of Iran, even if their bunker busters go and destroy all of these bunkers, that landmass, Iranian landmass, can be used through Pakistan, through China, the Russians, the Turks, the Ottoman Empire. I've been talking about the Ottoman Empire coming back. Can be used to literally drive in those rocket launchers, just drive them in anywhere. You don't need a base. And then launch them from Iran into Israel, into American bases. And over time, they will wear down Israel. They will destroy Israel. And the majority of those American bases may get destroyed as well. And then there will come a point where there will be millions of Middle Eastern people from whatever country taking back whatever they think is theirs, and whatever they don't think is theirs, who knows? But they have the numbers on the ground. Israel doesn't. And that's my take on it. All you need to do is break down their ability to use technology, and when people can just march on in, the whole thing's going to be turned on its head. So therefore, the discussions that are going to be happening now, in my opinion, will be the Americans trying to save what's left of Israel. So that's my take on it. If this continues and Iran keeps launching missiles in there, and then somehow the Iranians are able to arm what's left of the Palestinians and give them more machine guns, they might just take back all of Israel. Next thing you know, a few of their neighbors might get pissed off. Next thing you know, you've got 1 million Lebanese marching across the border. Next thing you know, they're just slicing up Israel or what's left of it. That's probably, at this point, if this continues, has the highest probability of all. And maybe on the way out, Israel might launch they might launch a nuclear weapon in between. They might nuke Iran. Then the Pakistanis and whoever else will have an incentive to drive some of their rocket launchers on in and launch them into Israel. And I'd like to give a little bit more of an in-depth analysis of this, but that's the way it seems to be playing out right now. And the increase in, oil prices will only make Russia rich. So the United States can't win. There's absolutely no way. They can't bomb their way out of this because they don't have the troops on the ground. They can't nuke their way out of this because they will get nuked. They can't increase the fuel costs. They can't lower the fuel costs. They can't win that way either. And so the only way that the United States can try to get out of this is to go to the table, negotiate with their tail between their legs, and beg that the rest of that region doesn't destroy Israel. And we know how well that played out, where they tried to negotiate in Turkey for a ceasefire for Ukraine, and they lied to the Russians. And so with the Russian and the Chinese and the Pakistani backing, I don't think that any talks between Iran and Israel, they won't trust anything that the Israeli side or the American side will say. So what's the other option? The United States keeps sending their fighter jets in, or their B-1 bombers, or their stealth bombers, and just once a week go in there and bomb that region of the world? There's 100 million Iranians. How many Iranians crossed the border between Mexico and the United States when they opened up the border last year? How many Iranians are in the United States right now? This is about to get really messy. And the United States and Donald Trump, the not so bright Mr. Make a Deal guy, has no credibility left. So how's anyone going to trust anything he says when he's been lying the entire time? That's what he did recently. He said, in 2 weeks' time, we're going to have a talk. I'm going to make my decision on what we're going to do about Iran. And then the very next day, the bombers went in and launched bunker busters, to try to take out all of these underground bunkers in Iran. Trump lied and Zelensky lied, and they had what the Russians call a terrorist attack in Russia. That terrorist attack with the trucks and the drones on the back and sneaking the trucks in behind enemy territory and then letting off all of those drones, that same strategy in Russia, we were told that was conducted by the Ukrainians, not Iranians, Ukrainians, was the same strategy that Israel used in Iran. And so a lot of people are thinking that Mossad is behind both. Now, if all of that's the case, Russia, Iran, they have absolutely no reason to trust anything at any negotiation ploy at all that the United States might use here, which means, in my opinion, that this war with Iran and Israel has to conclude itself, because you can't trust the American team. You can't trust the Israelis because they conducted terrorist attacks from the Iranian and the Russian point of view. If you can't trust them, how can you negotiate with them? And so how do you solve it? Well, you solve it on the battlefield. And who has more troops on the ground? Iran has millions more people, and I dare say a lot of the Muslims in that region have been waiting for this opportunity for the last 100 years. So if they want a ceasefire to save Israel after Israel started this, It doesn't make sense that the Iranians would want to show mercy when Israel has committed so many crimes over the last 100 years. They've, they've been committing genocide for almost 100 years. And this is why, when you look at it, so many people, they've been, if you're you're against genocide because you're smart enough to realize if your side commits genocide and you sit around and you say nothing about it, one day your enemies may commit genocide against you. That's what people like myself are talking about here. It's not that we're pro-Hamas and terrorism. Terrorism is just code for being Muslim. I'm not a Muslim, I'm a Christian. I'm a Christian, I'm not Jewish. I'm not a Judeo-Christian. I'm not a Zionist. I'm a Christian. I'm a Tucker Carlson version of Christian. I'm in that type of conservative line, which is why a lot of us, and this is why Donald Trump seemed to be in our sort of slither of the American political sphere. But now it's at the point where demographics have destroyed all of our countries, and the only places that are safe to go, you need to pick a safe Asian country to go hide out in until we figure out where to go. But God forbid the Israelis suck the Hungarians and the Polish and the Romanians into another nightmare war where white people are killing white people, Russians are killing Russians and Ukrainians, or Russians and Polish are destroying what's left of white countries. And this isn't a white supremacist talking point. This is a safety and common sense talking point. I don't care if they're communist, capitalist, religion, whatever. When scarcity kicks in and people get desperate, they side with people that look like them. You don't have to be racist. This is how it is. And so therefore, you want to be in a country that the people look like you so that they're less likely to slaughter you. And even worse, what if you look like me and the people who you've been supporting in Israel have been committing genocide, and then scarcity kicks in, and then the story is, let's just kill the white men that were supporting genocide anyway. They were already evil because they were supporting Israel, so we might as well genocide them and take what they have so that we can feed our kids. And that's the real story here. And that's why so many people like myself are more likely to support Russia or Poland or Hungary and go fuck you to Britain and France and Germany and Israel. You see? And the United States. The United States is no longer a white-dominated country. If anything, if I go to the United States, I feel like I might get discriminated against more. It'll be unsafe for me. I'm from the other side of the world, yet I'm going to be called a white supremacist and somehow I need to pay reparations to them. We're running out of safe spaces. And if we let these people who are running our country, you know who those people are, we let those people suck Viktor Orban in because we know they're talking to him right now. We allow them to corrupt Poland and start killing off what's left of the white people. We are next on the genocidal heap. That's my take on it. And so while the world is burning and your lives suck, I'm out here in front of a beautiful infinity pool, beautiful weather, enjoying my life while the world burns around me. Join the members section, say hello, and hopefully you can come and join me and let the world burn around us. And let's just enjoy the fucking ride.